Hello, Freedom Queen Facebook group. Welcome to the first ever Freedom Queen podcast live recording. If you are watching this live, say hello in the comment section. If you are watching the replay and it is one day from now, if it is 1 month from now, if it is 10 years from now, say hello inside of the comment section. I feel like on this live today, we're gonna make history. There's a new frequency in the world. I'm such an intuitive person, and I can tell that there is a new frequency. There's a new level of power here for women. That I've always been such an intuitive human being, and I've always come in and done a live somewhere, maybe on Instagram, and I've said, something's different. Like something's happening. And right now, there's another frequency that is happening in the world. My company is blowing up, my clients' companies are blowing up, and I'm just ecstatic about it. And so I'm gonna be doing some, not a lot, but some very powerful Freedom Queen podcast live recordings inside of this Facebook group. And on these recordings, I might do a giveaway because we have some luxury merch that we're designing. I might invite you to something. I might drop a brand new offer. I don't know which one will come through during the live, but when I drop these, think of them like a pop-up. Come join me on the live because there's something so special about it. And now, I can't see any of the comments, but I'm assuming that you all are commenting if you're live with me. It says comments will appear here, and I don't see any comments. And that's unusual for a Freedom Queen crowd because we like to say hello. So inside of this episode, I'm just gonna jump right in to our recording here. And I have my multiple phones. So many phones. Okay. And I would love to know how you're doing in the comment section. Okay. So first things first, welcome to the Freedom Queen podcast live recording. The conversation I want to have today is about power, particularly your power. This has been something that I have been thinking about for, my whole life, really. I've been always so fascinated with why some women really blow up in their lives, why some women attract things, why some women seem to get everything that they desire in their life, and then other women, they don't. Why one woman can walk into a room and she commands attention and other women don't. I have been obsessed with this, and let me know if you are as well. Your power that you hold in your physical frequency is what is determining how much money you make. Now, for those of you that have been inside of the Unspoken Conversation, you'll know a lot about this work if you have been inside of that program with me, which I asked for testimonials from that program, and we got like 25 video testimonials that people sent to us, and they're beautiful. But that is the work of your physical frequency. Your physical frequency really matters. It determines how people feel about you. It determines your magnetism. It determines how much you can charge, who is attracted to you. Because we all know that like attracts like. And now if you are someone who wants to call in powerful clients, let me just ask you this question first. Do you want to call in women of power? Do you actually want to coach leaders? Because this is what we're going to talk about in this episode here. Do you actually want to serve women who are strong, who can bulldoze you? Do you want to be the expander for other powerful women? If so, you're gonna love this conversation. So over the years of particularly being in business, I have experienced this phenomenon, which is, if you know me and you know me well, I love movement. I love exercise. I love moving the body. I love hiring people to support me and guide me and hold me accountable. And every year, I hire a personal trainer. I hire a woman to hold me accountable, to push me. And I'm not just hiring any woman. I'm looking for the best of the best. And I don't care about the price tag. Even when I had just quit my job in New York City, I remember I was living in New York and Brooklyn, and I hired a personal trainer for $100 an hour. That made no sense, but now looking back on it, it makes all of the sense. It makes 100% of the sense now. So I have always looked to hire personal trainers that are women of power, okay? Women that, like me, they can hold me. And I'll never forget, back in 2022, I went to Thailand and I hired a personal trainer. And I was very new to personal training in terms of like consistent training and lifting schedules with someone. I'd done a lot of fitness classes before, a lot of group classes, but I was looking for somebody to work with me intimately. And we worked together for about a month, and I was so blown away by my transformation. I got stronger, I lost weight, I got a lot of inflammation down, I got way more fit. And then the next time that I went back to Thailand after leaving, I left and came back, I went back to that same trainer. And I had realized, this was literally a span of 6 months later I went back. I went back 6 months later and I had realized that I had changed so much. Why? Because I noticed her power had shifted. But actually what it was my power had shifted and her power had stayed the same. I went back 6 months later, and during our first session together, I thought something's off here. Like something just doesn't feel right. I don't feel right with you. And I remember going to my session, and I remember coming home to Robbie. At the time, we lived in this beautiful 5-story villa in Thailand with a movie theater. It was so beautiful and so magical and so we just didn't even know that you could live like that. And I remember coming home to Robbie, and I remember saying to him, like, something's off with this trainer. And Robbie's like, well, I'm gonna work with her. Like, I'm gonna hire her too. So I'm like, okay, well, you go do the training session and like, you tell me. And so he goes and does the training session, and he comes back and he's like, okay, something's off. Like that, I don't feel right. And I'm like, I'm telling you, we've changed. There's something different about our power. And by the way, this is happening for you, and either you're changing or you're not changing. You have to change. You have to evolve and grow and shift your mindset and shift your intelligence and shift how you show up. You have to gain more levels of power as you grow. And you're gonna outgrow people, and this is what was happening for me. This has happened to me my whole life. If you relate to this, let me know. And so I'm doing the sessions with her. And every time I would go to a session, I would walk into the gym, I would be so excited, I would feel really good. And I would notice during the sessions, this is the second season that I went back, she would make negative comments about herself. And at first I thought, usually humans like to bond with each other over negativity. I don't like to bond with people over negativity. That's not my vibe. That's not my thing. But I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, people like to do that, so I'll just listen. And she would make these negative comments over and over and over again about herself, or about Thailand, or about other people in the gym. And I was like, I can't listen to this. I cannot listen to this. I cannot do it. But I really needed a trainer, and I couldn't really find anyone else in Thailand at the time. And I remember coming home and saying to Robbie, like, she's just so negative. Like, I get to the session and I'm so happy, and then she'll make a comment like, she's like, I don't like her, she doesn't like her shorts today. She doesn't like the weather today. Somebody else is annoying in the gym. And I'm on a mission. Like, I am waking up the world, right? You are waking up the world. You are someone who is on a mission to do something really big. And when you're around people that are negative, what it actually is they lack power. People want to be around people that have high vibrational frequencies, that are charismatic, that love their work, that are passionate about the business that they're building, that care, that are obsessed with improving. Like, I do not want to bond with anyone over negativity. Stay away from me. And I started to really realize this. I started to recognize how negative this particular person was. And every time I would go to a session, in addition to the negativity, I also started to notice insecurity. Now, I was paying this person, and there's a difference between you being paid to mentor and lift someone up, right? Like, it would be different if she was paying me for me to lift her up. And then there's a difference when you are paying people. You expect your mentors to call you to rise, to expand you. And this is why some people I see, they're not growing massively in their coaching business, because they're not expansive human beings. They're not charismatic and joy-filled. They're not happy. They're not like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing in the entire world. Like, it is at 5 o'clock on a Monday, March 31st, the last day of an iconic month, and I am in my living room going live doing a Freedom Queen podcast live recording. And so I can't do it anymore, because I am now bulldozing the relationship. She's asking me, how does that feel? Do you want to lift more? Do you want to lift less? Do you want to do this exercise? And I'm like, I can't do this, because I will bulldoze the relationship. Because as a high-end human, I'm looking for women that can hold me in my power and my next level. Not someone that's questioning the strategy, not someone that's questioning the moves, not someone that's questioning themselves. I'm looking for someone of power, and so are your buyers. This is what they're looking for. They're looking for who has the strength, the certainty, the confidence when they speak. And I go home and I tell Robbie, I can't do this anymore. I cannot work with her. I can't. And then I go on and I actually start doing some online training with somebody else. And then I go on and I come back to Costa Rica and I get a new trainer. And at first, the training session is amazing. It's so great. This woman is powerful. She's very articulate. She's very strong in how she speaks. She's very knowledgeable. But over time, there were little things that started to slip, like being late, or forgetting to send me something, or being behind on our meal plan. And I started to feel, as a high-end human, as a high-level buyer, as a high-ticket buyer, that the frequency of the company was not a match for who I am as a human. The standards did not match the identity of who I am. And after a couple of months, actually a little bit longer than that, like 6 months, Robbie and I made the choice to end that relationship, even though that person is amazing, but I was not the buyer for them. They were great at its time and a service of me having them as my trainer. But again, my power shifted and changed. And then I found two incredible women. One is this woman who is Polish, and she is a jiu-jitsu fighter, and she is so incredible. And the other is this woman who's from New York, and she has a studio in Costa Rica, and she's so strong, and she's so fit, and she has multiple children, and she's such a bad A, like she is so strong. And there's something common about these two women versus the other two women. The first thing is that they both charge more, okay? So they both charge more than the other two women were charging for their services. They charge more. Period. Some of you literally just need to be charging more to attract the buyer that you want to be working with. Some of you have these higher ticket masterminds that you want to be selling, but the mastermind price point doesn't make sense for the buyer you want to attract. Like imagine I sold a 6-month mastermind for $12,000. That would be like, what? Our 6-month mastermind is $40,000. That makes sense. Our year-long mastermind, our highest tier is $75,000. That makes sense. Imagine if I sold that for 10K. That doesn't make sense. For the person that I mentor, for the person that Freedom Queen is designed for, someone who is high level, someone who really values mentorship. You don't want value mentorship, go buy somebody else's 10K, 600 person program. Go do that. I'm optimizing for a specific buyer. And some of you don't have price points that match what you're looking to create. So not only do they both charge more, but as soon as I communicate with them, they greet me with power. In their bodies, they have this physical certainty, like they value themselves. They walk into my house when I was doing personal training in Thailand with their shoulders back, with respect for themselves. They never speak negatively about themselves and who they are. In my coaching session, I don't say to them like, I don't know what to do, because they're not asking me what I want to do, they're telling me what to do. They're not interested in like chit chat, because I'm not interested in chit chatting. I'm just interested to do the work and grow. They bill me on time. They're extremely positive. My one trainer that I do virtual stuff with when she's in Thailand, I do it in person with her. She is so fierce and so confident, and she's just like, hold the plank, you can do it for much longer. I'm like, okay, great, thank you. She's not questioning me. She's not cheering me on. She's like, I'm so proud of you. No, don't need that. She's like, hold the plank for longer. You can do this. Let's go. You came to win. Come on. I know what you're really capable of. Same thing with my trainer here that I do in-person work with. She's like, Bridge, you can hold so much more. Let's do this. Actually, she's like, you do more than all my other clients do. I'm like, I know. Let's go. I came to win. I came to play at a higher level. And they both physically have this presence of power. So often I see high-level women in the online space, they say they want to attract these people that are high-level, high-end, that make a lot of money, that are extremely sophisticated. But then these high-level women hire you, and you're not super confident in yourself and your services, and people feel that. You're negative or questioning yourself or wondering if you're good enough, when the high-level client just needs you to be in your power. That's why they're gonna stay with you. That's why they're gonna hire you for your highest level package, because they know that you can hold them. You have to be the most powerful version of yourself. You have to be the woman that is showing up with positivity, with charisma, with care, with your shoulders back, with dignity, respect for yourself, presenting yourself as though you already make $100 million. How would you show up while you're watching this live podcast recording? What would you be putting in the comment section? Are you showing up as your 100 million, your 9-figure self? Are you showing up as a a 1,000 month self version of you. If you want the same results as everyone else, and you want to attract everyone and one to many, and you want anyone as a client, by all means show up as everyone else. But if you want to attract people that are of a certain quality, you want to lead leaders, you have to be in your power and lead yourself first. The reason certain women hire me in this industry is because they see my power. They see how I lead myself during times when other people are struggling to lead themselves. You want to charge $10,000, $15,000 a month for your coaching, lead yourself. Hold yourself to a higher standard than everyone else. That's why they're going to hire you. You want to attract the yous of the world? Ask yourself this question. Are you actually being that type of mentor? And this shows up in little ways. It shows up in your sales conversations. It shows up in how you're talking to people in the DMs. I audit a lot of people's DM conversations. By the way, one of my favorite programs is down in the DMs. It's one of our signature courses inside of Freedom Queen Experience. And I talk about power in the DMs. You have to show up powerful in the DMs like you are leading people. So if someone is reaching out to you and they're like, hi, I want to work with you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're interested in my mastermind, and my mastermind's the best mastermind. And I want to, and like, here's what you need to know. And here's the thing. And tell me about yourself and send me all the things. Then it feels like you're trying to prove to someone versus being in your power and be like, oh my gosh, incredible. What do you need to know? I'm not sitting in the DMs sending people 500 million audio messages. I'm like, here's the link to sign up. Because my brand is positioned as a company that high-end, high-level, high-ticket people want to move to be a part of. High-end movements. This is what I teach. High-end movements 101. People wonder why they're not attracting more advanced human beings. It's like, well, you're not being an advanced human being. And I've experienced this phenomenon in so many services because I travel all over the world and I love to hire different people. And one of my favorite people to hire is hair and makeup stylists all over the world. And I've same thing as my personal trainers. I experience the same thing with my hair and makeup artist. The hair and makeup artists that come to my house and they question everything, they say to me, do you like this? Do you like that? Do you like this? Do you like that? Tell me what you want. Tell me, oh, does this look okay? I can tell immediately from someone's frequency. Immediately, if they're gonna be a good hair and makeup artist. Literally from when I see them. When they walk into the room, I'm like, shoot. I've had this happen in the last 3 months. I've had this happen in the last 3 months 3 times. 3 times in the last 3 months, I've had hair and makeup stylist, artist walk into the room, and within an instant, I'm like, shoot, this is the wrong person. This person's not gonna work. They're gonna do the makeup really poorly. I'm not gonna like it. I can already tell. I can already tell because they have this physical frequency when they walk in the room that they're doubting themselves. And a woman of power wants to be held by other women of power. This is why I have my favorite hair and makeup artist in Tampa, Florida. My favorite hair and makeup artist did my hair and makeup for Freedom Queen Live, Vlad. You'll meet him again at Freedom Queen Live 2025 this year. And Vlad, when I saw Vlad's Instagram, I thought, this is the man that needs to do my hair and makeup. I just knew it. I knew it from his frequency. I was like, this is the man that's gonna do my hair and makeup, for sure. And he comes into my room at the suite at the Vinoy, where Freedom Queen Live is hosted in November. And he walks in, I'm like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be more than okay. I'm gonna have the best makeup and hair that I've ever had. And I did. And I will again in November. And I knew it because of his frequency, his confidence, and the certainty he had. I got to sit in that chair and feel so powerful because I was held by a powerful artist, a powerful service provider. Because he knew what he was doing. He wasn't second guessing himself. He wasn't questioning who he was. I was getting ready to put on the best performance, best show, best conference, best concert, best event for female entrepreneurs of my entire life. And I needed someone who would feel the frequency of power. Because a month prior to that, or 2 months prior to that, for the original Freedom Queen Live, I was actually supposed to have a different hair and makeup artist. And I'm so glad that everything happened, and I'm so glad that all of that happened for a number of reasons. Like, I have a list of 5 million reasons why Freedom Queen Live was rescheduled last year. It was I feel so grateful to God because of that. But I had a different hair and makeup artist at that time. And for September, I really did not have that much time to pivot because I tried her like 2 weeks before the event. And I remember looking at my mom and saying, like, she's fine, but I, like, her energetics, it's not it. Like, I left getting out of that chair, like, please stop talking. Like, I can't listen to you. These things matter. The frequency you're putting out matters. When people are leaving your frequency, are they leaving feeling like, I am more powerful, I am stronger, I can make more money, whatever you teach, I can be healthier, I can get my books better. You are selling your physical frequency constantly. And then when I saw Vlad's Instagram profile and I was like, this is the man, just from his pictures, I was like, this is it. This is who's gonna do my hair, makeup. He's confident, he's powerful, he's certain in himself. I wanna work with him. And did he do amazing? Yes. Will I be using him again? Yes, he's already booked. We already booked him for Freedom Queen Live 2025, which is amazing. And if you are live with me, say hello in the comments. I would love to know who is here with me. And so this really, really matters. I've been in different masterminds in the past, and I've always seen when certain women, and I host a lot of masterminds. I have coached over 7,000 women. And something I often notice when women come up for their hot seat coaching, it's their physical frequency. I can tell you in a second how much money that person's making. I can just look, I'm like, okay, she says she wants to be making $1 million per year, but with that physical frequency, there's no way you're gonna make $1 million in a year. It's not possible. Not with that physical frequency, you're gonna have to shift something. The lack of intentionality that you have, the lack of charisma, the lack of confidence, the lack of certainty, the lack of this fierceness, like you can feel it in someone's frequency, like they're no BS, like they're pure. It's pure power. You're just like, I know she's gonna do this. Watch her. Reminds me of our Watch Me program. Watch her. You just know. And then you have people that come up for hot seat. I've seen this a lot. People come up for hot seat and they'll ask questions and they'll be like, I want to get more people into my programs. And you're like, well, why don't we just ignore that, all of that, and just take a look at your physical frequency? Because the way you're showing up right now, it's obvious as to why people aren't hiring you at the level that they could be hiring you. Because there's something off in your frequency. You're not intentional about yourself. You're speaking down to yourself. And I want to address this inside of this live. Amazing. The team says I'm live. I can't see all of your comments. I want you, from this live moving forward, line in the sand moment, to stop speaking down to yourself. I was in a Telegram chat with someone today who's an amazing human being, and I love her dearly. And she sent me this message. And she downplayed herself. And she used this emoji. Like, that's all. That's it. And I said back to her, well, if you want to be making more money, the first thing you need to do is never use that emoji again. Please, like, never speak that way about yourself. I had another client today who's in one of our masterminds who is literally exploding. Like, she's stepping into her power in such big ways. She's in one of our short-term masterminds and FQE. She said, a part of my struggle. And I said, wait a second. And she kept talking and she kept talking and she kept talking. I literally blacked out after she said a part of my struggle. And I said, can you, wait, pause. When you say a part of your struggle, what it sounds like is you have some massive struggle in your life. It's like just like a piece of your struggle is this thing. And I was like, I literally blacked out after you said that because I couldn't get past the fact that you were speaking so poorly about yourself, so negatively about yourself. How many of you are you speaking up to yourself? Are you speaking down about yourself? You will not see me speaking negatively about Bridget James Lang. You speak up to yourself, you go up. You speak down, you go down. And she's like, thank you. Yes, okay, thank you so much. I'm like, okay, great. Now that we move past that, what was your question? What are we doing mentorship on? Like, now let's get into it. Because it sets the frame as if you're a failure. You're not a failure. Another one I've been hearing so commonly this week, just listening into different spaces and places and programs, people are like, well, I've only made this amount of money. I've only made this amount of money this month. This is what they say. And I'm like, woman, if you owned where you are right now, you would be where you want to be. I remember when I made my first $500 and I was standing in my Brooklyn apartment and I was standing over top of this wooden table that I thrifted off the side of the street I almost said Costa Rica, in Brooklyn. And I remember standing there over the table, and the first person hired me for $500 for 6 sessions. So it was under $100 a session. And I remember feeling like I had made it. I remember calling my mom and saying, Mom, I'm going to be a millionaire. I could not even comprehend what millionaire meant at that time. My vision board said $5,000 a month. That was it. And I started doing the calculations on my phone, and I'm like, okay, $5,000 a month divided by whatever it costs, was like $83 a session. Okay, that's going to be 60 sessions per month. And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to be a lot of coaching sessions, but let's just forget that. Let's stay in the frequency and in the zone of I've made it. Okay, you've made it, 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 you made it, you made it. You've made it. And if you keep thinking to yourself that one day when you get to your first $1 million month, I've had $1 million a month, and I'm telling you, there's nothing that makes you more proud of yourself, that makes you feel more fulfilled, that makes you feel more alive than enjoying the process and owning where you are right now and claiming it and making it a big deal and throwing yourself a party and popping the champagne. This is why I have so many clients with me that have gone from zero to their first $100,000 month. They're now millionaires, buying homes around the world, popping out beautiful babies. But that is because they've owned where they are. Woman, one day you're going to get to a point where you and I are celebrating your first $1 million month. And you and I are celebrating it in such a big way. We're celebrating your first $1 million month, and we're shouting and we're dancing. And then you know what? There's going to be a 2 million and a 3 million and a 4 million and a 10 million and a 100 million. And one day we'll be 80 years old and we'll be looking at all of these crazy things that we've done inside of our lives, you and me. And you're just like, wow. But I'm telling you right now, in order to get there, you have to ground in where you are now. Olivia is here with us. Olivia, I actually have a feature coming out about you. Olivia is inside of our Once Impossible Now Easy Mastermind. This is our mastermind that's at 6 months or a year long. The year long is $75K. And Olivia celebrated this today inside of the mastermind, and I'm going to celebrate this with her right now. Olivia, celebrating a month at $71,000 cash. $71,000 cash in a month. and $110,000 in sales. And she says another. Because Olivia, we got to meet in Paris last year, and Olivia has signed up for one of our Freedom Queen VIP weekends. We're going to Iceland together this year. She's been doing back to back to back $100,000 sales months. And she just had a $71,000 cash month, and it's only 5 o'clock here in Costa Rica. So I'm just saying anything is possible for you. I've literally, my first $300,000 month, I crossed the $300,000 cash month at 11:58 p.m. So I continue to hold steady no matter what time is, because what is time? But Olivia's done $71,000 cash. That is huge. And I never want these moments like this to go by or pass you by, because one day you're going to be doing, next month, whatever, the month after, 100,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million cash months. Like, all of these things are happening. All of them. All of them, all of them, all of them, all of them. They're all going to happen. It's already written. It's already done. I always remind myself of this. Robbie always jokes with me. He's like, Bridge, it's just all gonna happen. It's just, like, you don't even really have a choice. Like, you're just gonna do this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's already written in the stars. And it will happen. One day we'll be celebrating your $300,000 cash month. But if you don't own this moment right now and really feel it, like, I want you to actually feel the amount of money that you're making. Feel the depth. Feel the business that you have right now, because you'll never have the business that you have right now again. It will never be like this again. This moment right here, like, pinch yourself. If you don't ground into that, by the time you get to $300,000 cash months, you won't feel. And there are too many entrepreneurs that are making bank but don't feel. That feel like they need to be further ahead. It's like, wait a second, but weren't you at one point really excited about where you're at right now? Didn't you want that? If you continue to chase a milestone, then you'll never actually just become the woman, and you'll never actually feel anything in life. But when you continue to focus on your power and who you're becoming, you will always jump in income, in milestones, and grow and quantum leap. Olivia says, my fourth 100K sales month, and I remember saying that when I entered the mastermind, let's create the impossible. Olivia is someone who makes the impossible easy. In the month of February and March, Olivia sold like 40-something tickets to Freedom Queen Live. She literally started a revolution. We're nearly almost halfway sold out of Freedom Queen Live. And it's in November, so you better get your tickets soon. We sold more tickets. We sold double the amount of tickets in 1 month that we sold in 6 months last year. Because of this work. Because every single day last year, when somebody would buy a ticket to Freedom Queen Live, I would write down their name and I would put it on a post-it note on my wall. And my mom was a big part of Freedom Queen Live last year. She actually opened up Freedom Queen Live with a prayer, and we had this beautiful prayer wall. If you were there, we had this prayer tree. And my mom opened up Freedom Queen Live, and something that she did last year is every time someone would buy a ticket to Freedom Queen Live, she would pray over their names. 380-something women had their name prayed over every day. And I remember every single time someone purchased a ticket feeling like, I felt it. I was like, one woman is gonna pack her bags. She's gonna leave her home. She's gonna get on a plane, a train, a car, a walk. She's gonna get there to Freedom Queen Live and be in the room with us. And if I don't anchor this in now, If I don't hold on to this right now, one day it won't mean anything. And I'm telling you, that quantum leaped Freedom Queen Live. Today, people are buying tickets I don't even know. I'm like, who are you people? I love you. And I'm like, yes, yes. The way I see a sale for a $27 offer that a lot of you are buying today, our High-End Movements Challenge, is the same way I see the sale of a $27,000 offer. People are buying into your company, into your business. The way I see a $20,000 day, a $50,000 day is the same way I see a $5,000 day. I'm like, this is amazing. This is extraordinary. And it compounds over time. Tiffany Barton's here. Tiffany is signed up for Freedom Queen Live. She just joined the Freedom Queen Mastermind. And Tiff, you're coming to Costa Rica next week, right? Which I can't wait to meet you in person. Olivia says, I'm preparing something huge for November in Florida. I have chills listening to your mom's prayers. I want you to let this be. It's Monday, March 31st at the time of recording this podcast with you all. I want this to be the time where you go all in on you. Where you look back on your life and you are so grateful for everything that you've created thus far. Oh my gosh, wait a second, pause. Alicia's in the house, already feeling the freaking magic for Freedom Queen Live 2025. Alicia, I had this download about you the other day where I was like, this woman, I know we've had moments together before where I've said to you on a Zoom call 2 years ago in 2023, I'm like, I said something to you. I had the same feeling, but different this time. Something bigger. I want this moment for you listening to this right now, for this to be an anchoring in for you to go deeper into all that you've created. I want you to boldly own what you've created. Women have been taught that it's not safe to be loud, that it's not safe to share your wins, that you're wrong, right? Like, how many of you growing up as a little girl, people would say, well, don't be too overdressed. Don't like outshine anyone because you're going to be triggering other people. You're going to be the threat of the room. I was interviewed on a podcast today and somebody asked me about this. And I was talking about the pawn versus the queen. I was talking about how the pawn is the one that looks like everybody else, right? On the chess piece, a pawn is so not attractive. It's so not etched out. It's so not different. It's so not unique in the marketplace. It's so the same, and it has to work so hard to get to the other side of the board. And once it gets to the other side of the board, all it can get is one piece back. It has to work so hard to get so little in return. But a queen is so different in the chess piece. A queen is etched out in all the ways. A queen can move in any direction that it wants to move in, as fast as it wants, as far as it wants. It wipes things out of its way. Sometimes the queen is actually more powerful than the king on the chessboard. And do you know who people are always trying to take down in the game of chess? Do you know the number one target on the chessboard when people start playing the game? It's not the king. It's not the pawns. It's the queen. And each time the queen makes a move, when you play chess, everyone goes like this. What is that queen doing? Watch her. It's funny that came up twice in this episode. Watch her. What is the queen doing? Watch her. Keep your eyes on her. If you don't watch the queen, she will make a move that will wipe out the whole game and she'll win. And in this industry, in online entrepreneurship and being a woman of power, you are the queen and you will threaten people with your power. And people won't like it. And when you make a move, people look at you and go, what's she doing? But here's the thing I want to remind you. Other queens are in their own castle, playing their own game. And they're like, oh my gosh, look at that queen. She's winning in her game. A queen that is winning, a queen that is ruling, a queen that's in her power. She's in her own kingdom, her own chessboard, and she's taking care of herself, her family, her children, the gold, her people that she serves, her kingdom. She's always improving, making it more beautiful. She's taking care of herself. She's powerful. She enters into the ball and she's like, I am the queen. Here I am. Watch me rise. And she sees another queen and she's like, congratulations, queen. Do you need help with that war that you're going through? Because I will go to war with you and I will ride at dawn. It's not the queens that you have to think about. Another queen is not going to try and take you down because she's doing her own thing. She's running her own wars. She's doing her own battles. She's serving her own people, running her own kingdom. The people that are threatened by you are the pawns, or the herd, that everyone is like one another. And so I'm sharing this boldly with you because on Monday, March 31st, which is today, at the time of recording this episode here, I want you to step into another level of power. And I want you to do something that we're doing inside of the podcast, Freedom Queen Podcast, which is Send It Season. Send It Season is a season that you enter into every now and again in one woman's life because you just need to send it. Because you just need to go and make moves that make more people go, what's she doing? Oh no, what's that? Wait, don't do that. Because when you make that move, oh God, they're not safe there anymore. But other queens are making their own moves. They're moving on their chessboard. They're going to the other side. They're wiping out the board. And so I want you to enter into what I call inside of Freedom Queen, Send It Season. This is a month-long challenge that we're doing on the Freedom Queen podcast, and you're listening to the Freedom Queen live recording podcast right now. And throughout the month inside of this Facebook group, I'm going to be doing pop-up live recordings just like this throughout the month, where I share stories, I drop wisdom, and I help you become the most powerful version of yourself inside of these live recordings. In between our podcast live recordings like these pop-ups, you have the opportunity to plug in to our podcast. And you can just search it on any platform, Spotify, Apple, I believe it's on Google. You can just search for Freedom Queen and it will show up there. And I want you to stay plugged in and connected to every single episode. Something someone said to me not too long ago, actually I've heard it many times, and they said, I got on a Zoom call with a woman. Her name is Carla. She's a fashion designer in Eastern Europe somewhere. And she said to me, the first thing we opened up the Zoom call and she goes, Bridget, when I talk to you, it means money. So let's do this. And she's like, every time I get on a call with you, I'm like, wait, hold on, what? And she's like, every time I get on a call with you, I make money. And so we have this thing in Freedom Queen where we say when you're plugged into Bridget and you're plugged into Freedom Queen, you make more money. And so I want you to stay plugged in. I want you to really send it this month. I want you to send it like you've never sent it before, and I'm going to be sending it. I have one of the biggest months of my life coming up in April. I'm hosting 2 massive events, a 50-person event in Costa Rica. It's like a mini Freedom Queen Live. I have my affiliate partners. I'm doing an insane photo shoot that I've been physically training for the last month in Costa Rica. Wait until you hear about this project. So I want you to enter into a season where every move that you make might threaten people. It might make other people go, oh gosh, what's she doing? What's Alicia doing? What's Tiff doing? What's Mickey doing? What's Olivia doing? Oh God. But other queens will be looking at you and saying, congratulations, you're actually sending it now. Congratulations, you're actually ruling in your kingdom and in your castle. And throughout this month, we're going to be doing some giveaways. You're going to see a thread posted to the Facebook group on how to enter the giveaway. I'm going to be doing some designer giveaways. We got some new Freedom Queen merch that is luxury, chef's kiss. We've got some really beautiful new Freedom Queen merch that I'm going to be giving out in the month of April inside of the Send It Season Challenge inside of this Facebook group. And the Facebook thread will explain how to enter to win. But I wanted to kick off Send It Season with a pop-up live here. I want you to really send it. Send it so big that other people, the pawns, are like scared by your next move. And the queens are like, let's go. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Let's go. And that your big moves inspire other queens to make massive moves in their lives. And we raise the bar for the industry one rung at a time. A rising tide lifts all boats, and one woman decide to go really big changes the entire game. So, Freedom Queen, hello, Alera. So nice to meet you. Welcome to the first ever live recording of the Freedom Queen podcast. I will see you inside of Send It Season. Make sure that you're connected inside of the Freedom Queen podcast on Apple and Spotify. And pay attention to our Facebook group because we're going to have some crazy surprises popping up in here. Okay. I love you. Welcome to the greatest season of your life. Bye, everyone.